What is up, guys? Eric here from Real Film Reviews, bringing you another movie review, this time for the new Boyd Holbrook film, The Predator. The Predator is directed by Shane Black, stars Boyd Holbrook, Sterling K. Brown, and Jacob Tremblay. This film is the most recent addition to the Predator franchise, which of course had Predator, Predator 2, Predators, and now The Predator, because Alien vs. Predator is its own separate universe. This film tells the story of basically the Predator has come back to Earth. There's a Predator who's come back to Earth and killed some people and done, the Predator thing. And after Boyd Holbrook's unit is all killed, he is brought in by basically the people that are aware of their existence. They're the people that have studied every event of the Predators coming to Earth to try to learn more about them and learn how to kill them. So they arrest Boyd Holbrook more or less and claim he's crazy and that he killed his unit to send him away with all the other crazy people to some hospital where he'll just be put in a padded room and they can utilize all of the information that he was able to tell them to hunt down this Predator. But of course, as expected, everything goes wrong and Boyd and all of the other allegedly crazy soldiers are all basically banded together to try to fight this thing. Now, a little bit of trivia for people who aren't massive fans of Predator. Shane Black actually starred in the first Predator film. He played the guy with the radio on his back with the glasses and the hat. He dies in that movie. Spoiler alert. A lot of them do. But he decided after all of these years that he always wanted to make his own Predator film. That was one of the biggest roles he ever had in his career, and he was like, I want to make my own, because now he's moved to being a behind the camera person. He made Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, he made Iron Man 3, and then most recently he made The Nice Guys. He's a pretty highly revered director. He co-wrote this film, and I have to say, I'm shocked at how not good this movie was. I think Shane Black did a good job directing this movie. I think for the most part the direction is on point. I think that the action in this film is actually pretty good. Even though they maybe utilize a little too much CGI blood and gore and not enough practical for my taste, and maybe there's a little too much CGI in some of the fights, I think for the most part I can get over that. Because the action is actually filmed really well. It's taken from a wide angle, there's no shaky cam, there's no quick cuts. You get to see the action as it takes place, and you get to see all of the Predator in his glory ripping people apart, and it's awesome. So I think because of that fact, I have to give it props there. It does use some practical gore, which I think works a lot better than the CGI stuff, but that's always my personal preference because I just hate CGI blood and gore because it looks so dumb on screen. And then along with that, I think performance-wise, this movie has a really big cast. I'm not going to go through every single person because a lot of their roles are fairly small. But everyone did the best they could with this script. I think Boyd Holbrook was a decent enough lead in this film. He was a decent enough action hero. I don't think he ever had a line that was as good as any line that he had in Logan. But, he put in the work and he gave us a decent performance. I think Sterling K. Brown was solid. And I think that by far the best performance in this movie comes from Jacob Tremblay. Which isn't really that surprising because he's the only actor in this movie that I think has ever given an Oscar-worthy performance at any point in his career. And he's like 9. But they all do the best they can. And I think the struggle with this film is its script. The script for this movie is so contrived and so generic in other senses that it's hard to really care about anyone or anything that's going on in it. Before I get more into the script and what I really think is dragging this movie down so much, there's one other issue that I have with this film, and it's the special effects. The first Predator is considered one of the best action movies of all time because it used so little in terms of special effects because of when it was made. The Predator's invisibility and his blaster cannon are about the only special effects in that film. Everything else is practical, basically, which is extremely impressive because of how much that movie has held up over time. But this movie chose to leave that behind and do way, way more CGI for so many more sequences, and I think that if they would have toned that down, it would have even improved the action that much more to where this movie wouldn't have been as bad as it is. Now I know, this is a big action movie, and there's no reason why I should expect some Oscar-worthy script out of it, but I wasn't expecting that. All I was expecting was a simple plot about mercenaries or ex-soldiers or whoever trying to kill a predator in a small town. That's all I wanted. All I wanted was cool action of dudes shooting at a predator and the predator killing people and it having some fun one-liners in it. That's all I needed. That's it. That's all I needed. But instead, this movie decided to invest itself in this insane plot about the climate change and predators coming and rogue predators and super predators and all of this other insanity. And it just didn't work. It was just too much. The first Predator is so simple. Guys go to kill Warlord, find Predator, fight Predator. That's that whole movie. That's it. There's a little bit of like personal discrepancies between Arnold Schwarzenegger and other characters and stuff, but that's the plot of that film. And this one just got way too invested with the space travel aspect and the predators wanting to do other things, and it just doesn't work. The predator's there to kill them because it's a trophy hunter. That's it. That's all I want in a Predator movie. The first Predator's characters were so good because it didn't waste the time trying to give them little one bits that we learned about them. They just naturally fit into the story, and we learned little things about them as the story went forward. This one decided to literally have an introduction sequence where we go through and learn, this is the funny guy, this is the Jesus guy, this is the crazy guy. Like, I didn't need that. I could have just learned that from them as the film progressed. I didn't need this introduction sequence because that's all those characters ended up being. All they were those one-word descriptions. They were the Jesus guy, the funny guy, the crazy guy, the explosion guy. Like, that's it. That's all they were for the whole film. There was never more character development where I cared more about them or anything like that. And I really think that that dragged this movie down so much because it's not just all the dumb callback cliche lines and stupid action plot that were unnecessary for a film like this. That's the thing. Even if you have that kind of ridiculous plot that feels overextended and unnecessary, if you have fun action movie characters, you can get over that. But this movie chose to give us one-liners to describe each character, and then that was it. So when we have this squad of guys, I didn't care at all if any of them died. Literally any character in this film could die except for Jacob Tremblay, and I wouldn't have give 1 ounce of a shit about it because I was not attached to any of them in any way. And that is so important in an action movie like this. When you have an ensemble cast in an action film, it is so important that people care about them because that's what adds the weight to the action sequence. That's why Fury is such a fantastic war movie, because I care about them. It's why Saving Private Ryan is great. It's why Die Hard 3 is great, because you care about multiple leads. And calling back to the first Predator movie, that's why it's so great, because you don't only care about Arnold Schwarzenegger. When everyone else in that film is fighting the Predator, you're there and you're rooting for them. You're rooting for Shane Black in that movie. You're rooting for Jesse the Body Ventura to kill that thing. That's what that movie is about. It's about those people who are fighting at insurmountable odds to win, and you're rooting for them because you care. And in this film, you just don't. You don't care at all about any of these characters, and because of that, none of the action carries weight, even though it does look cool. But you can't be invested in the story, and that's so important, especially in simple action movies, because if you can't even be invested in a simple action movie plot, it's impossible to really have any feeling about what happens in the plot. I'm gonna give The Predator a D. I'm gonna be honest, I can't recommend this movie to anybody to go see. I'm a big fan of Predator. I like Predator 2, kind of. It's not very good. I would say this is probably worse than Predator 2, but like Predator 2 is still pretty awful. And I enjoy Predators as well, but I would say if you're a fan of this series, you can probably wait to rent this one or watch it on Netflix or something, because it was just a very disappointing movie to go see in theaters. Well guys, as always, I'm Eric. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of The Predator, share everything we do here on Real Film Reviews, and I hope to see you guys later.